Hello, welcome to the podcast of Startup Recruitment Failures. I'm Indra, founder and CEO of JobRely. We are building LinkedIn automation platform for outbound recruitment. And today my guest is Benas Šidlauskas, co-founder and chief business development officer at Turing College. This is the first Lithuanian company backed by Combinator in winter of 2021. Benas, could you please introduce yourself and your company?
Hi, Indra. So thank you for inviting me. And before presenting myself, I would like to give a shout out to you. You know, you were one of the first people actually to introduce me to the local startup ecosystem 7 years ago. And I remember my first self-employed job was filmmaking. Mm-hmm. And I remember how you were organizing startup grind events back in Vilnius Tech Park. And I filmed Trafi and Oberlo founders interviews at the time. And actually from there, my interest in startups grew. So thank you.
Oh, very glad to hear. I'm also very happy that you helped me with the Startup Grind events, and very glad that this even inspired you, to create such a great company.
Yes, I was a freshman in a freshman year of my studies back then. Cool. So also I will present a bit about what we are doing. So Turing College is a coding school with a talent marketplace, as you already mentioned, backed by Y Combinator. Mm-hmm. We admit top 10% of the students and teach them with relevant skills and match with career opportunities. So Turing College just recently entered the third year of its existence, but in education sphere, our core team has been working already for 7 years. And we have been working on different types of educational ventures, from teaching computer science courses by Harvard CS50 in high schools to building MVP products for startups and enterprises. And just a few weeks ago, actually, we had our 7th birthday celebration, and we were joking that we are letting our 7-year-old child to the first grade of school.
Okay, that's nice. And well, I guess you have quite a few recruitment failure stories. Could you share a few with us?
Yeah, sure. No problem. So maybe I will start sharing with the lessons we learned working with companies. And later I will also share the personal hiring insights about growing a team without letting in, people with negative work ethics. Mm-hmm. So I will start with the companies. So working with companies and referring them to our students for them, we understood that the best way to help companies is, of course, saving their time and providing enough of insightful data about them. Mm-hmm. So what we noticed that majority of company recruiters who are looking for new hires are spending time on LinkedIn because, it's the most popular tool for that. But the problem is that the average time spent on a resume is only like around 6 to 10 seconds.
That is true. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not possible, to make a right decision in such a short period of time. And usually recruiters are stuck just in a bad candidate loop. And, this leads to just burning company money with the wrong hires afterward. Mm-hmm. Well, there are very significant parts why that is so, specifically talking about LinkedIn. So one is that candidates tend to write whatever they like, mm-hmm. Experience especially. And recruiters in bigger companies are only looking to the keywords like years of experience. We noticed that while working with our partner companies. And most of the time, we had to educate companies that it's not always the years written on LinkedIn that matter. It's usually the relevant practical skills and experience that person has and can deliver from day one. And number two is that candidates tend to share certificates with no practical knowledge, mm-hmm. like speaking about, alternative platforms like Coursera, AdX, or others. And you can get a nice, looking certificate and put it on LinkedIn from mentioned platforms, but might still stuck with only the most basic knowledge, which you can't use practically. Another thing is that recruiters and tech leads can't see the portfolio of projects that the candidate has done. I'm speaking now specifically about the tech roles.
Okay.
And there is no data about the candidates, like learning consistency, working consistency, meeting deadlines. Also, I think that this is very important from the soft skills perspective. What we also saw and understand that more than 80% of companies admit that soft skills are crucial for deciding if the candidate is a match for them. And that is where Turing College comes in. We have created now a smart resume, which is that we have systemized student performance data from 6 to 12 months of learning to a single resume that provides in-depth insights on student potential to do the actual job and thus succeed in the company. Plus, we're always making sure to talk to companies about their needs and making iterations to make the course and the resume better.
Nice. This is really interesting. I think it's very awesome. And your students they are like entry-level people, just graduated their universities or schools, or are there people like changing their profession?
Most of the people are already changing their careers, and like the majority of people that we have at the moment, they are already, having bachelor degrees or masters, and just looking for a shift in their careers. And I'm quite surprised that like now, just recently we updated like the kind of geography of our all the students we have. At the moment, we have students from 20 different countries.
Oh, wow. Nice. This is interesting. Do you see any like differences between each of the country or in terms of students and also employers hiring them?
So, if we speak about more of a junior people, companies tend, to kind of have more of a hybrid working environment for the juniors, not, fully remote. So I would say that now we're focusing on kind of localizing the market. So, for example, we have, more people coming from Estonia or Latvia or Finland or Germany. And we're also, kind of focusing also on understanding what kind of companies would like to talk to us and have, kind of hiring partnership afterwards. And regarding like the people itself, I would say, it varies from, for example, what is the level of their English level, how they're, communicating or speaking, and also the motivation is sometimes just, different. For example, we had 15 Nigerian students from Nigeria. And we were really surprised how, cool of a motivation they have. So majority of the Nigerian students that finished Turing College now they have whether relocated or working remote in Lithuanian companies.
Wow, this is really awesome. And when it comes to companies themselves, like to hire a person who most probably are overqualified, especially if they're changing their career into IT profession, do you see any changes in the attitude during the past few years? Are the companies more willingly hiring them, or what is the situation in the market?
I would say that in general, like companies are, more and more focusing on the practical knowledge that the person has, but not the diploma that he has, or the certificate. So I would say that we're quite happy of the companies that we work with, and we see that they're really open to actually collaborate also with making improvements also in the curriculum that we have. For example, maybe there is let's say cybersecurity company, and they have maybe some specific stack that we're not having in the course, and they just providing it with the kind of vision to have students coming to their company as future employees. So I would say I'm really happy, and I do see that there is a shift in the companies to actually be open for coding schools like Turing College.
Oh, this is the best. If companies could be involved and, to help creating curriculum, it's really one of the best things could happen. But still, I'm thinking it's like if you hire a junior, there is such a perception that it's not like, and the person is like older, like 35 years, and they would be willing to occupy junior level position. Most of the hiring managers might be afraid that, the person would be so willing to learn and maybe not so open for new experiences. Have you noticed that?
I would say that, this is kind of mutual thing that we're doing with the companies. We just, kind of have also to educate and convince at the beginning that, those kind of specialists that are coming. Also, like, as I mentioned, we were making those smart resumes, and we're kind of, tracking their motivation and willingness to get, the new experience within the learning phase. Mm-hmm. So I would say that, this is kind of more of a mutual thing that we have to do. I do agree that some companies are, kind of afraid, but, this is why we're here. We're trying to also not trying, but making this progress to convince companies that when you can actually see the, performance and have that data on the table, you can be more assured that the person will be a good match for you.
Mm-hmm. And from what kind of the fields usually people tend to change their career into IT?
Maybe I'll take our example, what we have now at the moment. So now we specialize in data. So our main courses that we're proud of is data science and data analytics. Mm-hmm. So we do see the tendency that more and more people, for example, from sales, marketing, financial, analysts that are working or have daily seeing, different types of data that they have to work with. Those kind of people are mostly interested in kind of upskilling and changing their careers in data analytics and data science.
Okay.
So sales, marketing, and, finance.
Okay. And what is the conversion rate of students who finished your courses? How many of them in percentage do find the job during, the first 2 months after they finish?
I can brag about the percentage we have now, how many people did get hired after the studies at Turing College. So we still have the 100%.
Oh, wow. Okay. This is awesome.
Yeah, and but that comes because a couple of things. One is that we have harsh admissions. So as I mentioned, only 10% of most motivated people are getting into Turing College. Mm-hmm. And also the studies are intense. I mean, you still have to dedicate at least 15 to 20 hours a week to be able to finish Turing College.
Okay. And you also mentioned that you had some personal experience with the recruitment failure too.
Yes, we did. We did as a team. Mm-hmm. So maybe, as I mentioned, we also had recruitment failures, and most of the time we made those fails was because we saw those fancy LinkedIn profiles of a candidate with lots of experience in it. Mm-hmm. And also, we needed the specialist fast. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't evaluate whether the person is actually good and fits us. And the only source of truth is if you know anyone who worked with that person before.
Yeah.
But if you don't, then that's a problem, or just like a kind of a bet. Mm-hmm. And I will share one of the story, how in the beginning of Turing College, we hired a senior who we thought would create one department strategy. Mm-hmm. So it was like very early days of Turing College. And we left that person for a few months without any supervision because, we trusted, we knew that the person is more senior than us, mm-hmm. The founders. And when it was time to launch one particular part of the project, 1 week before, we saw that nothing was ready properly. Mm-hmm. And we tried to encourage that employee to deliver the result. But in the end, 1 day before the launch, that person made the decision to resign.
Okay. This is not nice. And why do you think this happened?
I would say that, one thing is that we were focused on the kind of experience that we see just like from the abstract perspective. And we were, I would say, not doing enough of screening. So I would say that, lessons were learned. And now when we are hiring a new employee, before making the final decision, we are doing a very in-depth screening. So I will be more accurate. So 2 out of 3 founders need to confirm that the person is the right fit. And during the few interview stages, we do ask various questions and check, how a person reacts and how the person would act in real case scenarios. And I think a good example is how Jeff Bezos once said, he said, I'd rather interview 50 people and not hire anyone than hiring the wrong person.
Yeah, of course. But sometimes it's not so easy if you're a small company and you don't have many candidates to choose from. And in this case, do you see that you have changed something that the strategy would have been prepared on time when you saw that, a few months passed and still not everything is done and you're not ready to launch? Did you try to, to help that senior person with somewhat in order to get more prepared? Maybe some information was lacking, or how did you deal with that situation when you noticed that not everything is going accordingly you have planned?
I would say that it was quite a funny situation because, like that mentioned week before the launch, we were in our first workation.
Okay.
So the whole team was in that one place. So I would say that when we noticed that, the entire team, we jumped on that case. And everyone tried to help. I mean, from the designers to developers, like everyone was on alert. But just the person, we didn't see the trait before confirming the person to get into Turing College. We didn't see that, person just cannot handle stress. And, that's why in the end, the person resigned.
Okay. And why do you see that manager or senior person did not say anything earlier? It's like, why did they wait until the very deadline?
It's just my subjective opinion, but I do think that person did also kind of thinking about himself as a very kind of knowing everything person. And he just thought, that 3 years ago, we were 22, 23-year-olds and the person was 30 plus. And I think that was also a bad trait from the person that, he thought that, we're just young guys who don't understand anything and he will do by his own way. So I think that that's also like a very bad trait to have.
Yeah.
Even when you're getting into any sorts of startups, you just need to kind of communicate a lot because the communication is key.
Right.
And that was not the case.
Okay, but this is a pretty tricky situation if you sense that senior person who joined your team is not giving any respect to co-founders. It is a little bit strange attitude, no?
I do agree. But, when there was like the beginning and the screening before confirming the person, we didn't see that trait. And I think that, one mistake from our side was that we were in a very hurry. And also we didn't have enough of experience. Yeah. So I think, these two things that could be implied here.
Okay, yeah, well, these things really happen that you don't have enough time to check everything. Plus, sometimes you cannot check everything, right? Only time shows whether there is a match or not. Was it very hurtful? How did you solve that situation? Because anyways, you had to launch, right?
I will say in a joke form, there were a lot of all-nighters.
Okay.
I remember we founders, on the day of launch, we didn't have enough, like a lot of sleep, but we did it. Still we did it. And I remember there was a festival happening.
Okay.
And I said to my co-founders, we need to kind of go to the festival and think of a new person who can join us. And they said, are you crazy? Like, to go to party now. And I would say that weekend on that festival was like a game changer for us. We have been like talking to each other, like three of us, in like a big Indian tipi, like a tipi tent.
Okay.
And we've been, speaking just like three of us for like 15 hours straight.
Okay.
So I would say that those effects after that festival can still be, as a feeling to other team members, even until this day.
Okay, yeah, this is important. Not to feel disappointed or like see it as a huge failure, but to find a solution for that. Great, thank you, Benas. And what would be your like key insight for other startup founders or hiring managers working in startups in terms of recruitment?
I think a couple of things. So one is that you need to kind of take people from different departments and kind of see from different angles about the candidate that you're hiring. Also, try not to be in a hurry, especially if in startups, most common thing is that everything is changing 180 degrees like every month, especially in early stages. And there's always that, a hurry feeling that you need to kind of hire as fast as possible because you will just burn. So I would say that even though if you have that kind of feeling, just stop for 1 second and think whether that person who you're hiring won't make it burn faster.
Okay, great. Thank you, Benas, so much for your time and sharing your story and insights.
Thank you very much.
And thank you to all the listeners. For more podcasts, please visit jobrely.com.